Hi, beautiful people. Welcome to the Fort Salem Library, where we read you your fanfiction. So sit down or don't, relax or don't, and enjoy these stories in a way you have not before. We at Fort Salem Library do not own Motherland Fort Salem or any of the related characters. The Motherland Fort Salem series is created by Elliot Lawrence and owned by Freeform. This story is a work of fanfiction and is meant for entertainment only. We are not making any profit from these stories. All rights of the original Motherland Fort Salem story belong to Freeform. We also do not own The Art of Multitasking or any of its original characters and storylines. We did, however, get permission from the author to read their story. This story was created and written by Lisbeth_1, and you can find the link in our show notes. This story is being read to you by me, Britt. The Art of Multitasking. Something that Sarah Alder quickly learned about Tally Craven soon after they started dating was that the girl was always running late. It shouldn't have surprised her. Tally had somehow managed to show up late to several meetings while she had still been a biddy. The perpetual tardiness, while admittedly making Sarah nervous when Tally had been nearly 20 minutes late for their first date, Sarah had later found out from Tally's sister that it was because Tally hadn't been able to decide on what to wear, soon became something that she had come to find endearing about Tally. Always rushing in late with an apology already on her lips, cheeks flushed from wherever she had been running from, hair slightly unkempt. Nobody was ever able to quite fault Tally for constantly being behind on time. Abigail and Rael couldn't care less about Tally's lateness. Sarah found her too adorable to be mad at her for such an inconsequential thing, and her teachers, well, if the reprimands had stopped the moment Tally's relationship with Sarah became public news, Sarah pretended not to notice. Tally had even almost been late to Abigail's wedding, but that had been more Sarah's fault than hers. Sarah also wasn't sure how much she was to blame for that though either, because it wasn't her fault that Tally had looked so deliciously enticing in her bridesmaid dress. They had made it with a few minutes to spare, even if it did take Rael those few minutes to put some extra makeup on Tally's jaw and neck, covering up the marks Sarah had left on her. Because of constantly being late, Tally had become a master at multitasking. Eating while studying while running on a treadmill at the gym, sneaking into the shower with Sarah in the morning when she has training, before Sarah has her first meeting and she had overslept. Tally has found a multitude of ways to get multiple things done at once, yet she still always seems to be late for everything. It is one such morning that Sarah, rinsing the shampoo from her hair, eyes closed, hears the shower curtain open behind her, followed by the plop of Tally's feet as she steps into the shower behind Sarah. "Hi, darling," Sarah says, and she grins to herself with her back turned to Tally. Tally may be already running late, as per usual, but Sarah isn't due to leave the house for at least another hour, and she has absolutely no qualms about making Tally later than she already will be. Sarah turns around, eyes blinking open, and the grin disappears from her face, quickly being replaced by a look of confusion and mild shock as she looks at Tally. "Darling, what on earth are you doing?" Tally blinks at her. "I'm running really late," she says. At least, that is what Sarah thinks she has just said. It is almost impossible to decipher what has just come out of Tally's mouth, with her lips still wrapped around the fork stuffed into it, bits of red sauce and melted cheese dripping back down into the bowl that Tally holds in her hand as she stares at Sarah. "You're eating," Sarah says, pointing out the obvious. "In the shower." Tally hastily swallows, licking her lips, and Sarah watches with both mild horror and curiosity as she picks up more of whatever she is eating with her fork. "I'm running really late," she says, and she shoves more of her food into her mouth. Sarah leans forward, peering into the bowl, and her eyebrows shoot up on her forehead. "Is that lasagna?" she asks. Disgust clear in her tone, and Tally pouts at her, eyelashes fluttering. "What's wrong with lasagna?" "It's 7:30 in the morning," Sarah exclaims, and Tally's fork scrapes against the side of the bowl, scooping up more of the food in question. We're out of milk, Tally defends herself, and I didn't have time to cook anything, so I have to eat leftovers. So you decide to eat lasagna for breakfast, Sarah deadpans, feeling the warm water of the shower on her back. Well, I had to eat something. Will you wash my hair for me? You want me to wash your hair for you so you can continue to eat your breakfast lasagna. Sarah is half tempted to say no simply because of the fact that Tally is eating lasagna in the shower. Yes. Your breakfast lasagna in the shower. Yes. Your disgusting breakfast. Yes, Sarah, for God's sake, Tally exclaims, and then she pouts again, fixing Sarah with the puppy eyes that she knows Sarah isn't able to resist. And Sarah groans inwardly to herself, feeling her resolve crack. Fine, she bites out, and Tally grins, leaning up to kiss her. But Sarah immediately holds up her hand. I'm sorry, but no, I'm not kissing you until after you brush your teeth. Some of us don't want to taste such things as lasagna before noon, and certainly not while in the shower. The puppy eyes come back in full force, complete with a slight lip pout, and when Sarah inevitably finds herself giving in and kissing Tally, she's loath to admit that the taste almost isn't as horrible as she had been expecting for so early in the morning. Almost. Please find the fanfiction you just listened to on Archive of Our Own, and leave the author some love. Without them, this wouldn't be possible, and we want to thank them from the bottoms of our hearts for creating these amazing stories and keeping the show alive.